So this is the June 2021 edition of What I've Been Writing With Lately. This is the video in which I talk about the pens and pencils that I've been using lately. It's not a set of recommendations, not reviews, it's just what I've been using lately. So let's jump right into it in no particular order. The first pen that I've been using a lot lately is this. This is the Schneider Jellion retractable gel pen. I think a lot of people are familiar with the Schneider Jellion 39. It's this refill here. It's a really nice gel upgrade refill in the kind of Parker style or the G2 style, whatever you want to call it. And we talk about the refill a lot, because it's a good match for something like a Rotring 600. But I never knew that the refill was actually included in a pen also called the Schneider Jellion. It's a 0.5 millimeter or Jellion, that I have no idea on, but it's a 0.5 millimeter pen, kind of in the mold of a Pilot G2. It is a gel pen, all plastic, rubber grip. I think it sells for like maybe $4, something like that. And it uses that Jellion refill, which I and a lot of other people really like. But it comes in a pretty cool looking pen. You know, it's the pen body is nothing particularly special, but I was just, I guess, amused to see that the very popular refill came in a pen. Usually it's vice versa, right? You know a lot about the pen and not know too much about the refill. So this is one I've definitely been using a fair bit. Another one I wanted to talk about I've been using a lot is this. This is the This is the Staedtler 425-25F-9. I think I would probably just call it the Staedtler 425 ballpoint. This company is really well known for mechanical pencils like this 925, and it's a really nice all-metal drafting style mechanical pencil. But they also sell a ballpoint, and that's this, the 425. It's you can see it looks nearly identical, but you have a ballpoint tip with a Parker style refill in there. So just like that Jellion, I had swapped out the original ballpoint, which is kind of boring and not particularly special or exciting, with a Parker gel refill, which I like, but I know not a lot of people out there love, or at least, you know, there's a mixed opinion on it. It's a nice pen body. It's all metal, knurled, pretty good looking in that sort of drafting style. Has a cool click. And yeah, it's an okay writer. It's not particularly like a pen I really, really love. It's definitely not as good as, like, say, a Rotring 600, but it has a lot of the same qualities, and it's relatively affordable. I forget the actual price, but I think it's around $11 or $12. So I'll probably do a full review on this one at some point, but that's the Staedtler 425. Really nice, all metal, with that really cool knurling. Okay, so yeah, we'll quickly touch on this one. This is the Bic Cristal Renew. I had already done a review video of this. This is a metal body Bic Cristal, and it has a refillable, or it has a replaceable refill. And I had swapped in a 1.6 millimeter Bic Cristal refill in here, which is just that nice wide refill. I don't know, I just really like this pen. It's metal, has a little weight to it, has that classic Bic Cristal look and feel. You know, I wish the cap was metal, but that's not a huge loss. And you know, it's a pretty cool pen. I've been really enjoying this big, smooth 1.6 millimeter refill in here. It's just fun to write with, fun to take notes with, and cross stuff out. Just I don't know, it's just fun. And so I've been using it a whole lot. And the Cristal Renew is still hard to find in the US. It's not something you would stumble upon, but if you search around on Amazon, you could probably find one or two now, and they're probably on eBay as well. Another perennial favorite of mine is the Pilot Acro 300. I've been using it a whole lot lately. It's one of those ones that kind of is on my desk, and then I kind of push it away and switch off to something else, and now it's back. I did swap out the stock refill in this one, which was I think a 0.5 millimeter. Yeah, it's the EF, so the 0.5 millimeter for this refill. This is the 1.0 millimeter refill, and it's called the BRVF-10M. And that gets you some really nice smoothness from this pen. And I love this pen body. It has a really classic styling, a little bit wider here, the grip area. And just that sort of really clean, classic look to it. And then it's a nice writer, which it uses that hybrid style Acro ink, which is sort of a Jetstream competitor. And I put in this 1.0 millimeter refill, which is just nice and wide and smooth and really comfortable. One of my favorite pens, and people are probably bored with me talking about it so often, which this is always in my lists. I did want to talk briefly about these pencils. I've been making conscious effort over the past couple weeks to use some of the pencils a little bit more. I have a bunch of them I've picked up over the years, and I haven't been using them as much lately, but I said, hey, look, I should kind of revisit some of these and kind of just put them in the rotation. One of the ones I've been using the most is this. It's a Caran Swiss wood. It's a fairly expensive pencil. I think they're like $4 each, $5 each, something like that. But it's really beautifully made. You could just when you pick it up, you could feel it's like a heavy wood, just really nice looking, super classy, and I've been enjoying using this a lot. I will say that it's very light, so it is. Caran calls it an HB, as I pointed out before. That HB doesn't, it doesn't mean anything. Like there's no ISO standard for HB. It's just kind of a center point in the company's scales. So you can see this HB is very, very light, which means it's a very hard graphite or lead, whatever you want to call it. You look at it next to something like this. This is a Blackwing 602. And here's like the same amount of pressure. And it's much, much darker. It's a softer lead in this 602, which I tend to prefer writing with the softer leads, but being a lefty, they smear more, so I've been using this Caran. And even though it's called an HB, it feels like it's more in that sort of F range, right? So like not B for soft, but F on the harder side. Anyway, beautiful pencil, fun to use, and it's good for note taking, even if it is a little bit light. Here's a pen that I reviewed recently. It's called the Pilot Super Grip G Ocean Plastic. So you can check out that full review to get all the details on this pen, but basically it's this pen with this nice grip to it, which I really like. It has a really cool color, kind of a seafoam green type color, and it's made at least partially out of ocean plastic, so plastic that was pulled out of the ocean and recycled or upcycled or melted down, whatever they do with plastic, and made into this very cool pen. Still hard to find in the U.S., but it's about a $1 pen, $1.50 pen. It's a really nice click to it. And I would say pretty cool looking. And again, it's a serious grip, which I guess is why they call it the Super Grip. Super Grip G. And I did swap out the refill in this one for the refill from a Pilot Acro. They are basically interchangeable if you cut a little bit off the end. So now I have a really nice Acro ink in this, like kind of a modern style ballpoint instead of the very classic kind of boring ballpoint that was in it. This pen right here I've been using a little bit lately. This is the Tombow Mono Graph ballpoint. So Tombow is, they're fairly well known for their monograph line, which is mostly mechanical pencils, but this is a ballpoint version of that. And you could see it uses a needle tip, which is pretty cool. Not something you see too often in ballpoint, oil-based inks. Nice grip to it, pretty cool, kind of big sneaker-style grip. It also looks like a knurling, but it's obviously rubber. You have the blue, white, black lines that are clearly used or often used with this monograph series or the mono series, whatever you want to call it, and it's retractable. It's a pretty cool pen. It's nothing really to get too excited about, but for a $3 pen, I have been enjoying it, and it has an interesting refill. It looks like a big gel refill, but it's actually an oil-based ink, and you can see how thick the plastic is. I don't know. I found that to be really interesting. This thing is like way overbuilt. So this is a point. It's rated at a 0.5 millimeter. So definitely on the skinny side for a ballpoint. It's really interesting because this is a 0.5 millimeter. It's a Tombow. And another pen I've been using a fair bit is this one. This is the Stabilo. It's called the Point Visco. This is a gel pen. And this one is also, you could see, fine 0.5 millimeter. And there's clearly a marked difference between those two, even though they're both 0.5 millimeter. Just interesting how the ratings are different, right? With the ballpoint becomes a very, very tiny 0.5 millimeter, whereas the gel pen is much, much thicker. The Point Viscos are it's a really smooth gel pen. It writes almost like a marker, and it has a really bold, like distinct color that I really like. You can see that blue really kind of pops off the page. And I don't know, I think these things are fun just for kind of note-taking and kind of doing some scribbling or drawing. And it's, I would say, a cool-looking pen. It looks, to me, it always looks like a retractable pen. I'm always trying to push this thing. It looks like a button. Clearly, it's capped. And, I think Stabilo pens are, on the whole, underrated. And I've been using them a fair bit. I'll probably do some more videos on them in the future. Lastly, this is a Pilot Frixion ball. So this is a capped erasable pen from Pilot. Pilot definitely makes my favorite erasables. Not that I use erasable pens very often, but what I've been doing is I've been testing out this here. This is called a Rocket Book. It's a reusable notebook. So basically, you're writing this thing. It is kind of this really smooth, almost plasticky paper, and you could write in it, then you could scan it in to your phone or whatever, and then you could kind of wipe the ink off. That's why it needs an erasable pen. You just you can't wipe off a standard ballpoint, but you could wipe off the erasable pen. This is actually the one that came with it. I tend to prefer the Pilot Frixions. Even though I like the whole series, I tend to like them in the retractable. Something like this would be more of my preference. This is the Frixion Point Knock. It's a pretty cool retractable pen instead of the capped style. The ink is the same and the writing experience is more or less the same. I just like it in the retractable. So I think that covers it. These are the pens and pencils that I've been using in June 2021. If you have any questions, please do reach out. Otherwise, thanks for watching.